this part, we are talking about the different type of neurons. So there are some interneurons apart from the afferent and efferent neurons. So the interneurons are basically going to connect sensory and motor neurons to the brain and spinal cord. So interneurons are important for establishment of connection between the afferent and efferent neuron to that of the brain and spinal cord. The interneurons act as connectors to form neural circuits. The neural circuit is definitely going to be made up once impulses are traveling to the CNS, processing of the impulse is being done, and an advice based on the nature of impulse is going to come. This is basically making up a complete impulse circuit. So these circuits can be made by help of interneurons, which are going to act as connectors and are involved with reflex action and higher brain functions like decision making. So yes, interneurons are very significant for the functioning of our nervous system. Let's now have a look at a neuron. So each neuron has a soma or cell body that contain the nucleus. So this is basically the cell body of the neuron. It is having the nucleus. Dendrites are the finger-like projections that receive nerve impulses, and they are going to branch off from the soma. So we are having dendrites like this is a long slender dendrite. This is another one. These are other dendrites. These basically increase the surface area for receiving stimulus or impulse. The axon is a larger projection that branches off from the soma. So here you can see an axon. That's a long slender structure. It's a very long structure, and it's going to branch off from the soma. That is the cell body of nerve cell, cell body of neuron, and is important for carrying the impulse received by the dendrites. Nerve impulses travel along the axon in the form of an action potential. So an action potential is generated that is going to travel through the axon for reaching the next neuron. The axon splits into axon terminals which branch off to other neurons. So axon terminals are these areas. These areas are the axon terminals which are formed by splitting or branches of axons and are important for the neuron to connect with other consecutive neurons, and also very important for transmission of the impulse from this particular neuron which has received the stimulus to some other organ, maybe the CNS or maybe the interneurons. Neurotransmitter. These are very important molecules. The neurotransmitters are released from the ends of axon terminals, and these travel across the synaptic cleft to reach receptors on the dendrites of other neurons. We know there is a gap between neuron number 1 and neuron number 2. This is basically the axon terminal of neuron number 1, and this area is basically the dendrite of neuron number 2. So from this axon, impulse has to travel to the dendrite. This can be possible by help of neurotransmitter molecules. So these are the molecules which are released by the presynaptic neuron, and they travel to the postsynaptic neuron for carrying off the impulse. In this way, neurons communicate with each other and can send signals that reach many other neurons. So definitely, neurons can work in order to help the nervous tissue function properly by help of the neurotransmitter molecules, which are some chemical substances produced by the presynaptic neuron, and they are traveling to the postsynaptic neuron to elicit an impulse.